From talk to music, from Johannesburg to Israel, from sport to business. This is 101.9 High FM.
Hello, this is Sue Jackson on Finding Human, and my guest today is Michael Mujera. Michael was here in October, and we had very good feedback, and today he's back again. Michael is a life coach and a mindfulness practitioner. He does career coaching and executive coaching and school coaching. And today we're actually going to be talking about today's youth. I would like to just say to you, if I sound a bit nasal, I'm sorry. I got back from Israel with a cold, and I am a bit nasal. If I cough, I'll quickly try and turn it off. But next Tuesday, I just wanted to tell you that my guest will be Philip Weyers, General Smuts' great-grandson, who was in Israel now for the Balfour Declaration, and which I was also there on the Tiyul and what have you, to Smuts' kibbutz, which was unbelievably fascinating. And Philip will be here to share some very interesting, exciting, and interesting observations about Israel. Right, Michael. Welcome. It's so good to have you back.
Thank you for having me, Sue.
And today you found it very easily, and you were absolutely on time.
Yes, I just memorized the road last time I was here because I was late last time. Yeah.
And there was nobody to fill in for you today if you weren't going to be here, because the little boy, Vadia, who was here last time, remember?
Oh, yeah, school is in school now.
Yes, he is at school now. Right. Tell me why. Just give us a bit of background about yourself, please, for the people who did not hear your last show.
Oh, okay. My name is Michael Mujera, and I'm a life coach and mindfulness practitioner. Particularly, I have a passion for youth and teaching youth how to be more self-aware and more emotionally intelligent.
Wow. Why do you choose youth in particular?
Growing up, I didn't have anyone who taught me how to be self-aware, how to grow into my authentic self. So I thought that, it's something that I could also, as an individual, help people with, help younger people, the younger generation coming up.
So just tell us a bit about your experiences growing up.
Okay. In particular, I grew up in my family of origin. It was very abusive home. And during that time, I didn't know how to probably express myself, in a very productive manner. So I used to harbor up negative emotions, and they began to detract me and began to cause problems in my social life as well as personal. So I realized, it's something that is not unique to me. A lot of people are going through that, and they need to be able they need to be taught on how to manage those negative emotions and how to be able to go beyond, their circumstances.
And that takes courage. So how did you manage to go beyond those circumstances?
True. It does take a lot of courage. I think I'm still on my way, because you can't fully say you've healed completely. But I'm on the journey, and I'm in the process of actually doing it. And I think it takes a lot of discipline to develop as an individual, and a lot of consistency as well.
And a lot of pain often, doesn't it?
True.
To go back into your life, see what hurt you, and then work through it.
True. I was actually thinking about it the other day. I remember when my mother passed away, and it was very difficult to deal with the grief. And she passed away at a rather, I could say, unfortunate time. Because it was during my high school examinations, my equivalent of matric examinations, I think they call them here. And she passed away during my exams. And I just had one day to go and bury my mother and come back the next day and sit for my exam.
So there was no time to mourn.
There was no time to mourn or grieve, And slowly, as long as I had something to distract me, that grief wasn't dealt with. And I realized, as I grew up, that I actually hadn't healed those wounds. I hadn't actually grieved for my mother. I actually hadn't mourned her loss. And it's something that I began to slowly try and do over the years.
And there's a strange thing about grief, that it's never really closed. They say
True.
closure.
Yeah.
But I actually believe that we often, something opens it again and the wounds come back.
Yeah.
And once again, you've got to look at it and work again on a different emotion.
Yes, true.
Have you found that?
Yeah, I have found that a lot. It's a continuous process.
It is a continuous.
It's a continuous process. But the fortunate part is, if you're aware of it and you do it intentionally, it becomes not much of a burden, but it gets, can I say, easier to deal with? Yeah, and it's easier to confront certain things from your past as you do it progressively.
And perhaps as you become wiser and more aware of those
True.
feelings.
True.
You were from Zimbabwe initially.
Yes.
So, you went straight back and wrote exams. Did you manage to concentrate?
I realized as long as I had something to distract me from the grief, I could manage and operate. But I couldn't. I felt like if I had tried to deal with it then, I was going to break down.
So you almost compartmentalized it,
Yes.
didn't you?
Yeah.
And, I'm looking at this book that you gave me, which we mentioned last time, which I'm really looking forward to reading the full book, Dealing with Bullying in Marriage.
Yes.
So, you're actually very versatile, because here it is dealing in in marriage and relationships.
Yes.
And in youth. So both those areas are actually areas of interest to you.
Yeah, they are. I had this saying that says, it's where you're most broken, where you have the most to give. So I think the areas I struggled most with growing up were how to deal with negative emotions and in relationships. And those areas, I managed to develop myself in those areas and be more aware of the different things that we do as individuals. And as I became more aware of certain things, I thought maybe it's good that I share them with other people as well. So hence I wrote the book, and I also try and teach youth how to manage their emotions in schools.
I actually love that saying. Just say it again, the broken.
It's where you're most broken, where you have the most to give.
So true. And there's another saying, and as I'm looking at you, I'm thinking of this is exactly what you've done. You have turned your wounds into wisdom.
Yeah.
And, that is one way of not actually being stuck totally in the past, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It actually helps you move beyond it. Mm-hmm. And as you find healing for yourself, you also find healing for others, others who are not able to get the same resources as you do, or who don't share the same level of awareness that you do. But as you heal, you also help them heal also.
And, there is that saying, healer, heal yourself.
Yeah.
And you are in that work, and so am I, of actually trying to help other people. And in so doing, we have to know who we are.
Definitely.
And actually heal ourselves, don't
Definitely.
we?
Yeah.
And it is an ongoing thing.
It is.
From talk to music, from Johannesburg to Israel, from sport to business, this is 101.9 High FM.
Hello, this is Sue Jackson on Finding Human. My guest today is Michael-Mujera, and we are talking about relationships and also dealing with the youth of today. If you'd like to SMS us, please do so on 34519 or WhatsApp us on 062 148 2374. We would really like to hear from you. The feedback last time with Michael was fantastic, but a lot of the messages started coming in afterwards. So please remember SMS 34519 or WhatsApp 062 148 2374. Now, Pick and Pay Hyper Norwood has the following specials valid until the 19th of November. Hewlett's 2.5 kilogram white sugar, 30 Rand 90 each. You can save 9 Rand. Spreaker long grain parboiled rice, 19 Rand each, save 7 Rand. Pick and Pay 2 litre fresh milk, 21.99 each. Ariel auto washing powder assorted 2 kilogram, liquid detergent 1.5 litres, or capsules 45 Rand each. You save 19 Rand. Buy 5 All Gold 700 millimeter tomato sauce for only 100 Rand. Visit our store for more 100 Rand deals. You can buy all 3 for 65 Rand and save 10 Rand. Pick and Pay 2 kilograms onions, 2 kilograms washed potatoes, and 1 kilogram English tomatoes. So all of those for 65 Rand. Visit Pick and Pay Hyper Norwood for more in-house specials. Right, back to you, Michael. Just, I was looking through your synopsis that you sent, and you talk about emotional intelligence. Just explain to us a bit about emotional intelligence.
Oh, okay. I think emotional intelligence is just basically learning how to identify and understand one's emotions, and to be able to respond and not react to different influences.
Absolutely. Now, that doesn't come easily, does it?
It doesn't.
And how would you go about teaching someone how to actually become more aware?
Awareness has different facets to it. Most of the time we struggle with balancing the different roles that we have in our life, because a lot of us have roles to play. We are brothers, sons, fathers, husbands, we're employees, employers, friends, So all those roles, we adopt like, a persona for each and every individual role that we have.
We almost have to be like a chameleon, don't we?
Yeah, a chameleon, and you change, and I realized that with myself, I was a different person at home, I was a different person with my friends, I was a different person and just in different social environments. And depending on what was required of me, I just managed to adapt. But as I did that, slowly I lost what I call your authentic core, because you're you're something for everyone, but you're never something for yourself, And that authentic core, it denigrates as you change from role to role to role to role, such that you identify more with your roles and not with your authentic core.
So you're beginning to lose parts of yourself along the way.
Yeah, you begin to lose yourself along the way. And now it's very difficult now to be self-aware if you're only aware of the role, because the role is like the persona, the facade that you have. And when you're by yourself now and take time to be alone, that's when you actually discover that all those roles are eating into your energy, and you just feel low at the end of the day, and you wonder why.
So how do you feel that you can actually look at all those roles, see what works for you, and actually bring them together as a whole?
I think the most important question is, as I developed this emotional self-awareness, I asked myself was, who am I? Who am I as an individual? Not to be defined by roles, not to be defined by what I do, not to be defined by everything society projects onto me, but to identify myself. Who am I? Who can I say I am down deep to my core? And I'm still trying to answer that question, I might say. But what I realized was, I began to subtract everything else that wasn't part of my authenticity, my authentic core. And as I started to do that slowly, I began to realize, and it's like when you're carving something out, when maybe a sculptor is carving something out of a piece of wood, slowly you can't see the final image, but slowly as he begins to chip away all those unnecessary bits and pieces that are covering the sculpture, you begin to see an outline of what he's trying to create. And that's the same process that we need to go through. We need to start shelling all those things that are not part of our authentic core so that we can finally see ourselves for who we are.
You know, that is so true. And Oscar Wilde actually had this saying, the soul is